Hi, this is George Sicalius, and this is my sprint8 overview. So, so this is my tractor mode as of right now. Um, as you can see, the centipede can collide with the glyphs. Um, Jeez. So I worked on adding silent mode, the attractor mode, as you just saw, um, displaying the pseudo high scores, um, and making the glyphs collidable. Oh, and also the mushroom regen. So as you just saw right there, when the players hit, it wipes the current wave, it regenerates the mushrooms, and then it spawns the next wave. And then if the player gets a game over, then it'll go back to the attractor mode. All right. So yeah, so just going right into it, I'm gonna start with my AI movement. So AI movement is an input controller that the ship uses to get its move vectors. Um, so yeah, it's part of the strategy method that I set up before with my player controls. Um, so movement controls. Nope. So yeah, this is the base class of the input controllers. So going into AI movement. So because it's an AI, I used a finite state machine in order to get its move vectors. So it starts in the down diagonal left state, meaning it's going down and left. Um, yeah. So then the ship, in its update, it will call update position, which it uses to get its next vector. So move state will get the vector. It'll store it in current move so that it can be sent to p ship move, the pointer, the ship's move, next move. It'll also get its next state inside this update position. So this is the actual state. This is get next state. So it checks once every grid space to see if it hit any boundaries or a mushroom. So since I'm going left and down, I only have to check my lower bound and my left bound. And if I collide with if I collide with either of those, then it'll send me to a different state. Okay. So yeah, that's basically it for my AI controller. So attractor mode is its own scene. It's very similar to the actual game scene. Only difference is it initializes an AI player and scene put object. Scene put input just checks to see if there's any if there's any key presses. If there's any key presses, then it switches into the actual game scene. So yeah. Other entities interact with the glyphs. Oh, okay. So the glyphs. So in order to hit somewhere. Okay. So in order to get the enemies and bullets in player to be able to collide with the glyphs, I put basically an invisible mushroom on them. So when a glyph is created, it will text. So when a glyph is created, it'll tell the current grid to create a mushroom glyph, which is the invisible mushroom. The grid will call mushroom factory to actually create it, and then the grid will store that mushroom inside of its grid array and also pass it back to the glyph itself. I can show you that. Scene, don't need that. Player bullet mushroom. Mushroom grid. Create mushroom glyph. Yeah. Okay. So it's basically the same thing as spawning a regular mushroom. Only difference is it's a glyph mushroom instead. And it passes the mushroom back to the glyph. So, I think I mentioned this. I also worked on the mushroom regen. So what I'm doing is when the players hit, I'll iterate through the grid. If I find a mushroom that is damaged, I'll add it to the regen stack. And then after I'm done walking through the grid, I'll then set my alarm. Whenever the alarm is called, it will check the grid to see if it's empty, and it will regenerate the top mushroom and then pop it off the stack, and then start the alarm again. When the stack is empty, it'll then resume with the rest of the game. So when this happens, the game is pretty much put on hold. Before this is being called, the current wave is completely wiped. It just waits for this, and then it starts the wave over again. So yeah. Oh yeah, silent mode. Silent mode. So I use the strategy method to get that working. So the sound manager, it'll, instead of just calling the sound, just whatchamacallit, calling the sound, playing the sound, duh. Instead of playing the sound directly from the sound manager, it'll call a its sound mode object. So I think I mentioned this is a strategy method. So it can either be either in the audible state or the silent state. So when this is called, it'll make the proper call to its corresponding sound mode. So if its current mode is audible, it'll play the sound. If its current mode is silent, then it'll default to the base class, which doesn't play sound. Simple enough. I also set it up so that you can switch off between silent mode and the audible mode whenever. Yeah. And last thing I worked on was the high scores, displaying the high scores. So the HUD has an array of the high scores, fake high scores. All the high scores are just, where did I put them? Score manager. So they're just objects that hold the integer score value, the 3-letter name, and then just text that basically displays both of these in the proper order. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, I have a lot of work to do next week. Yeah. All right, that's it.